We've been talking in recent episodes of Friends Talk Financial Planning about giving gifts to people and how you can really maximize the meaning and value of those. Today, we're going to talk about something else that has a lot of meaning and value, and that's giving charitable donations to organizations. So stay tuned to hear more about how that can really add meaning and value to your life. Hi, I'm John Shear. I run Trinity Financial Planning, a fee-only firm in Madison, Wisconsin.
And I'm Bridget Sullivan Mermel, and I run a family financial planning firm in Chicago, Illinois. John, donating money is one way that people can bring more meaning to their lives. And so it's something I've been really interested in finding out about how to optimize. So I want to talk about a bunch of tips in that regard. The first idea that I've got is think about two different things. And you don't have to have answers to both of these, but having answers to one or the other is good. One is, what problem am I trying to solve? Or the second thing is, what do I value? And then give gifts according to that. So for instance, you might think, I want to solve the problem of animals being dislocated from their owners during a hurricane. Or you might think, I value education for girls or for people in general. And so my point is to think first about what you value or what problem you're trying to solve, and then try to go find the charity, rather than waiting to get charities pitching you and then react.
How do you,
Your
I think
thoughts?
that this is really great. So how do you, as you think about those, right? I want animals that are displaced by hurricanes. Let's just say that, and that's a really specific one. That's why,
Right.
like, so
You
I go,
might say
oh,
animals first, yeah.
yeah. But so you go, okay, that's what I want to do. Then how do I go about finding how do I discover the charity that meets that? Is that,
Well, first you want to look for charities that are reputable, and you want to also think, what do I care about more, near or far? So there's animal charities that are near to you. There's the bunny shelter down the street, and then there's the hurricanes, and then there's the elephants in Africa that don't have enough space to roam.
sort of the local
So
versus global, that sort of thought
exactly.
process, right? Okay.
And so it's going to be easier for you to find and monitor charities that are local than charities that are international, obviously. But you can look at, that's why what problems do I have and what are my values are interesting questions to look at first, because then you can apply those. Those are my concerns, and then you can look for different places to say, where do I donate?
That's
I'm
great.
gonna I'm just gonna share a few websites that help you, again, once you've started identifying charities, particularly ones that are farther away, to say, okay, are these decent charities? How are they rated? And I've got three different websites here. John, can you see this?
Yep. I see the
Okay, great.
guide stars up, right?
So this is GuideStar, connecting with the nonprofit information that you need. Another one is Charity Navigator, and this is kind of the grandparent of the sites. This takes ratings and gives every charity, I think it's a 1 through 5 rating. And a lot of it's based on how they handle their financials and how much money they actually give. So that's a big thing in the charitable world, is how much are administrative expenses and marketing expenses, because if you think about it, getting the word out is expensive, versus how much money do they actually give to the programs. So Charity Navigator helps you figure that out.
Does that come in? And what you're saying there is, for every $1,000 they bring in, $600 goes directly to the program, or $800,
Right.
or whatever the number, right? That sort of thing. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have administrators. Every charity has administrative expenses and
Yeah.
probably some marketing or advertising. So,
Right.
because, just to get the word out is important. Okay. And then GiveWell, again, they're looking at the charities that say improve lives the most per dollar. Okay. So they are going for, like, how many, they take a very scientific approach to gift giving, and that's another issue, is the emotional approach versus the intellectual approach. So you get with charities, it can be kind of dominated by an emotional appeals. The person who looks like they're starving, the child who looks like they're starving,
Yeah.
the more pitiful, the more donations.
Right.
Which ends up with fatigue. You end up with empathy fatigue with these donations. And on the other end of the spectrum is people that are, and I think Bill Gates has made this approach very popular, like, how many lives can we save? How many people can we take out of poverty? Okay, mosquito nets, or like some obscure thing that you wouldn't have ever thought of, can really save a lot of lives. And they're just looking at statistics. They're not looking at any individual person. So you can kind of see the two ends of the spectrum on that. And I'm actually not promoting one or the other. I'm just saying they're both out there.
It's interesting. So if I'm hearing that, as you're explaining this, Bridget, and again, I really appreciate the thought that goes behind some of these, the concepts, is to start off with, rather than responding and reacting, is kind of like the rest of financial planning. You don't react to the outside forces. It's starting with, what are my goals? What do I value? What problem do I want to solve? And then figure out the solution, as opposed to, here's a solution and putting it in the cart before the horse sort of thing.
I guess I value this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then the next thing I want to talk about is pay attention to results. So this, again, it's kind of easier with Charity Navigator because you can look it up again. But with your local, when you donate money to your local people, you want to say, okay, did they acknowledge me? Do I see what this organization is doing? Do I understand how they spent the money? That type of feedback really helps. Like, again, you don't want it to just be an unaccountable thing that you never hear about. It's kind of like getting a thank you note is important. You want them to have their act together enough so that they do that.
Yeah, interesting. And that show, it's sort of like in other walks. If they've got that part of their act together, that means that they probably have other parts of their act together too, right? It's sort of the smell test, right? It's sort of like, okay, yep, it feels good. Then there's probably good indications of other things.
Yeah, and speaking of feeling good, now we're going to move over to the warm glow of gift giving. So this is actually a research topic: how to get the warm glow. And one interesting finding that I found with the happiness of giving is that the dollar amount that you give is not that relevant to the warm glow. So giving $50 doesn't give you 5 times as much happiness as giving $5. So if you're just trying to optimize how good you feel, small donations are a good way to do that. The charities would definitely beg to differ, although they like getting small donations, no doubt about it, because they like to get you in their bank. But if you're just thinking about it from your perspective, small donations, from your happiness perspective, small donations, big payoff.
So would it be fair to say then that's an interesting concept? So if I have $1,000 that I want to give away, giving $1,000 gift to a charity, or $100 gifts, it's not exactly 10 times as much, I'm sure, but I would get, there's more psychic value. Or the benefit that I feel is more by spreading it out. Is that what the research shows?
Yeah, exactly. And one gift, that warm glow is going to go away it doesn't stick around that long. Mm-hmm. You might feel better in a week or maybe a month, but a year from now, you're not going to have that same warm glow. So, but the $100, again, you're giving yourself something to feel good about.
Is there any difference, as you talked earlier about, you think about, as we're planning our gifting for charity, local versus global, sort of near versus far, is there any difference in how it feels from the gift giver standpoint? Is there any research about giving, as I was just thinking about it, like giving locally, where I can spread out and I can see those places where I've made a difference, it felt like, oh, maybe locally would be more valuable from that standpoint, from a feeling standpoint, or is it about the same whether it's local versus global?
I have not seen any research directly about this particular topic. And I suspect that it depends on the person, but I am not sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How do you think? I'm just curious. I don't really think about that local versus global very often. Do you have advice for people, or like what best practices as far as how you
I think
split up
people
your
are
money?
different. You
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
so I try to say 50-50, but it really depends on the person. You know, there's some people who want to join the Peace Corps. They want to go to a different country and try to make life better in a different country. Now, then there's some people that want to make their life better at the local hospital.
Yeah.
So I think that people just have different acclimations, and that there's no there's not right or wrong to it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And maybe more people have. I think that it might, yeah. I think that it might be easier to find out about some of the global charities, but I think that people can tend to forget, oh, the school down the street needs money too, not just the Afghan schools that are, you know,
Right. Right. Well, talking about
desperately need money
that
too.
personal level of that, maybe it's a good time to circle back on action items that people can take that are watching here. And the two things that I really got from this are to start with a plan, meaning what's your meaning? What's your why? Is it to solve a
Right,
problem? Is it what you value? Start with your goal. And then just the idea that giving actually benefits you just from the
right.
feeling that you get. It's not that there's something to that in it for you personally. Those are two really big things that I took away from here. um, and then the other thing is the three websites, especially Charity Navigator, that you can find out how effective your charities are. That was something I thought was really powerful. What Bridget, what other takeaways do you have, or things you want people to remember from today?
Those are really the main takeaways that I've got too. So I think with that, we can wrap it up. We also like to talk about ACP, or the Alliance of Comprehensive Planners, which is a fee-only non-for-profit group that advocates the type of planning that John and I both do. You can find them at acplanners.org. And I think with that, we're going to wrap it up.
All right.
Until next time, John.
All right. Thanks so much, Bridget. Bye-bye.